Welcome to Reggie's Realm. I am Reggie Van Stockham, and this is my video podcast. This program will give me an opportunity to describe in more detail some of the wondrous things that I have discovered in my journeys, centered here in Kentucky, but spread beyond in order to describe science, history, and culture. These podcasts will give me an opportunity to show you the things that I have discovered and to bring out my maps and drawings to describe some of the places I've been and that you can go too. They developed out of a series of books that I have written that I call journey logs. They all start with the word surrounding, and I'm pleased to say that I have a federal trademark for that word and its use in my books. And what it means is this: we are so often interested and determined to go see something we're confident we want to see, that in getting there as quickly as possible, we miss all the wonders and splendor of the things around it. So my books describe those things, the things that surround what we think we want to see. It's pretty groovy, actually, because it's really the science of getting lost. And what better place in the United States to get lost than here in Kentucky? I started this project of traveling wildly and widely through Kentucky and writing a series of essays that I published in the local newspaper. That led to my first book. Took about 2 years to write because I experience everything that I am writing. I go and experience everything that I describe to you. And the first book was called Surrounding Kentucky Select Essays. That's what it looks like. I honed my technique here, finding places that were out of the way, finding places I didn't know exist, finding places by driving to places on maps that showed no roads. What I found was fascinating, and it allowed me to delve further into the science, history, and culture of these areas. I have maps, and I have a table of contents, all which can be seen on my blog site, www.vanstockham.blog. It's free. It has lots of interesting stuff that you can explore on your own without ever having to buy any of my books. The second one of these journey logs that I published, and I published them myself in my own publishing company, Zuga Press. That's right here. And Zuga Press also has a regulated trademark that I own. But the second book was called Surrounding Mammoth Cave. Now, what's nice about this book, it took me 2 years to write it, is that it's a complete work in itself. It's not a series of essays that I published in the newspaper. It was just 2 years of getting out there, getting lost, and seeing what I could find in those areas that surrounded Mammoth Cave. In fact, a lot of people look at the cover and get excited about the book until they read the first line on the back, which I quote for you. This book is not about Mammoth Cave. It's about all of the majesty and wonder in the areas that surround it. It's a big seller. You wouldn't be surprised at what you could find if you would just go around the areas that you seek. The third book took me 3 years to write. Surrounding the Kentucky River from its beginnings to its end. 3 years. And that's into the eastern mountains of Kentucky. And it's pretty rugged in there. And it's pretty beautiful. Exceptionally wonderful. The science, culture, and history is resplendent in the mountains of eastern Kentucky. But you wouldn't know it unless you just drove into it and got lost. I did. 12 to 15-hour days wore me out, but what I saw fired me up. And I always write emotionally. So when I come back, I want to make sure that I write within 2 days of the experience that I've had on these journeys, because I'm writing about how I feel, not necessarily about what I see. Now, it's an important aspect of my technique to not do any research before you go out. If you research the areas that you're going to, then you're going to be directed to where someone else thinks you want to go. That's not what I think you should do if you follow my technique. Don't research it at all. Don't look at a map and say, I want to go to this big city or this big crossroads. Look at a map and say, I want to go to this area that doesn't show many roads at all. You probably won't even get there, because once you head in that direction, you'll start turning right and turning left and finding all kinds of things that you didn't even know were there. And next thing you know, you're out of your car, you're hiking around, you're in creeks, you're picking up mussels, you're looking at trees. Yikes. The surrounding concept's a good one. And it's a good one to use when seeing Kentucky. I really expanded my technique in my 4th book. Having discovered people in all of the regions that I was exploring who knew so much more than what I could ever discover. Local legends with knowledge that local people didn't care so much about because they were local and to them it was just hometown. But when I showed up and I started to learn what these local historians and scientists were able to tell me, I got pretty fired up. And the next thing you knew, I'm in a truck driving around the back roads, being shown things that I could then describe in my work. It took 2.5 years to do that. That's the 4th book, surrounding Fort Knox, including southern Indiana. And I mean a lot of southern Indiana. And there's a lot over there you might not have ever heard about. It's a beautiful book. It's my biggest seller. It's my heaviest. 766 pages. It's my most expensive book, both softback and hardback, because I produce and publish these books myself, and I have them printed, so I can produce them both as hardback and softback. But it's also my biggest seller. But don't worry, much of what I do I publish separately in chapters on my blog site for free. www.vanstockham.blog. Go take a look. Surf around a little bit. If you want, sign up to be on my blog list and you'll get a couple of my blogs a week, and they're all pretty interesting, I think. At least that's what I'm told. So that's what I'm up to. And that's what I plan to do in this new Reggie's Realm video podcast. So I hope you'll join me on future episodes of this podcast of Reggie's Realm. And that fellow right there behind me, that's my great-grandfather, Athanaster Charette, as a younger man in France. The music that you heard coming into this podcast, and you'll hear leaving it, is of Chopin's Lost Waltz, which was recently discovered. A small waltz on the back of a small card, but it is played here by Dr. Stephen Taylor. And I took Dr. Taylor's rendition, interpretation of Chopin, and I sent it over to Spain to Zan Hoffman. And I asked Zan to give me a hip-hop mixtape retro feel to the piece. That's what you're hearing. And when you hear it next after you conclude this podcast, you will know that it's another time for a journey in Reggie's Realm. See you next time. It's kind of groovy. you.